That's true.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We are the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Chapel Rock. We practice a religion that values diversity and inclusivity. We treasure all that science teaches us and are inspired by human thought and bold action. We hope that you may find us a welcoming place.
Today we celebrate Indigenous Peoples Sunday. We acknowledge that the land we now steward has been cared for by Algonquin people, the Matinecock tribe of Manhasset Bay, and its use has been transformed by many generations of settlers. Our promise is that we join our care to theirs for this land and the aquifer it shields.
Our choir has just sung a treasured hymn of the Lakota Dakota peoples. Thank you, choir. The hymn was written by a Native American teacher who was also a congregational minister. After the defeat of the Dakota people by the United States military, 303 captured warriors were sentenced to death. In the largest mass execution in United States history, on the day after Christmas in 1862, and with the approval of the government of Abraham Lincoln, with the attendance of 4,000 people in Mankato, Minnesota, 38 Dakota prisoners sang this song on their way to the gallows.
Honoring their witness and resistance, let us rise in body or spirit to sing their hymn in English. Many and great, O God, are your works. At the conclusion of the hymn, we will stand in silence to light our chalice.
The music is on the sheet that might be attached to your order of service. The words will be projected. Many and great, O God, are your works, maker of earth and sky. Your hands have set the heavens with stars. Your fingers spread the mountains and plains. Lo, at your word the waters were formed. Deep seas obey your voice. Grant unto us communion with you, O star abiding one. Come unto us and dwell with us. With you are found the gifts of life. Bless us with life that has no end. Eternal life with you. Please be seated. Again, good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock. My name is David Carl Olson. I serve this congregation with my colleague, Reverend Israel Bufardi, and our student minister, Madison Colquette, all of us under the direction of lead minister, Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore. Our congregation is also led by an elected leadership, elected by you, among them President Chris Hilke.
Good morning.
There we are.
Ours is a diverse religious community that addresses many of the joys, desires, and needs of our congregation and the community it inhabits. This means we can be a busy place. With that, this morning's service of worship will conclude on the patio for those who care to join a brief Native American ceremony. Afterward, all are invited to join us for lunch in the social hall. In the social hall at 12:30, the Building and Grounds and Green Sanctuary Committees will offer a presentation on plans to transform our Great Lawn by the introduction of meadow areas over the course of the next few years.
We are a self-governing congregation, and in an effort to make the deliberations of our leadership more transparent, Your Board of Trustees will meet at 1 p.m. in the Beach Ballroom. All members are invited to observe meetings of our trustees. And also at 1, the Matt Musselman Trio will present a performance here in the worship room. Tickets may be purchased at the door.
At Shelter Rock, we aspire to be a loving religious community where we can grow spiritually and build a more just and joyful world. You are welcome to join us on that journey. With that, will you please rise in body and spirit, or spirit, to share with me our words and song of affirmation.
Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need. This do we affirm and covenant with each other. Thank you, Chris. It's not fair to invite a Minnesotan to come up and speak after we've talked about a massacre in Minnesota. Forgive me. Thank you. Each year I spend the fourth Thursday of November observing the National Day of Mourning. When I am able, I join the United American Indians of New England, UAIN, for their ceremony, gathering, and march in Plymouth, Massachusetts. My role there is simple: to witness, to learn, to help when asked. I aid respected colleagues to find their way to a seat in the section reserved for elders. Largely, I will be silent. On that day, that sacred day, the voices of Native peoples from across the continent are raised up. Their voices, their concerns, their anger, their joys, their hope. UAIN's slogan on that day is, "We are not vanishing, we are not conquered, we are as strong as ever." In today's service, you will hear almost entirely the voices of Indigenous peoples, their voices, their concerns, their anger, their joys, their hope. We begin with a poem by United States Poet Laureate Joy Harjo, read by a congregational leader, WinterFlower Robinson.
Remember the earth whose skin you are.
I get that.
Remember the sky you were born under, each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon, know who she is. Remember the sun's birth at dawn. That is the strongest point of time. Remember sundown and the giving away tonight. Remember your birth, how your mother struggled to give you form and breath. You are evidence of her life and her mother's and hers. Remember your father. He is your life also. Remember the earth whose skin you are. Black earth, brown earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth. We are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life, who all have their tribes, their families, their history too. Talk to them. Listen to them. They are live poems. Remember the wind. Remember her voice. She knows the origin of this universe. Remember, you are all people, and all people are you. Remember, you are this universe, and this universe is you. Remember, all is in motion, is growing, is you. Remember, language comes from this. Remember the dance language that life is. Remember.
Our guest musician, Chuck Fowler, was hospitalized, was hospitalized earlier this week. Now, he was out on Thursday. Our fingers crossed he's going to be here this morning, both for something in the service and also for ceremony on the patio. If not, our thoughts are with him, and we'll just proceed, if I may. Madison?
An emerging description of our hope for our Unitarian Universalist Association is love at the center of our values. Right now, love at the center includes a call for us to be of service to one another in responding to the spate of hurricanes in the South, with which our sibling congregations struggle and to which our association needs to respond. I'm asking this morning for your contribution to the Unitarian Universalist Association Disaster Relief Fund. Our Disaster Relief Fund is part of a covenant, a promise among the UUA and congregations like this one, between congregations who give generously and those in need, and with our community partners. Through aiding our sibling congregations, their members, and their community partners, we are able to embody our faith and our values. The ways to give are listed on the screens and also on the service orders that you may have been given. Check out the QR code. I invite you to be generous. It is a way you and I can do our part to fulfill our covenant, our promise to each other, and to the wider world.
A reading from My Life is My Sundance by Leonard Peltier. A poem, Aboriginal Sin, by United States prisoner number 89637-132. We each begin in innocence. We all become guilty. In this life, you find yourself guilty of being who you are. Being yourself, that's Aboriginal sin, the worst sin of all. That's a sin you'll never be forgiven for. We Indians are all guilty of being ourselves. We're taught that guilt from the day we are born. We learn it well. To each of my brothers and sisters, I say, be proud of that guilt. You are guilty only of being innocent, of being yourselves, of being Indian, of being human. Your guilt makes you holy. In My Own Voice by Leonard Peltier. On a windowsill beyond the bars, a pigeon stands on pink feet, chest fluffed out, preening in the morning sun. Some paint has peeled off the painted over window, and pressing my forehead right up against the cold glass, I peek out at him sitting there a universe away. The pigeon doesn't see me staring at him. His feathers have a subtle iridescence to them. The hand of my mind reaches out and touches him through the bars and the thick security glass. A spirit touch. He doesn't seem to notice. He pecks his small sharp beak into those iridescent chest feathers and ignores me. I marvel at the miracle of him, standing there, so near yet so far, unfettered as the wind. The whole sky is his, and yet from all that infinite space, he's picked this bleak prison window sill to pause upon this winter morning, blessing me with his sudden, unexpected presence, his astonishing reality. To me, the jailbird, this pigeon is as holy a messenger as an eagle. He tells me of the sky world beyond the steel and cement and razor wire. Once, when we came out of the prison sweat lodge, we looked up and saw two eagles circling high above us. They came to bless us, sent by Sky Father. So, I am known to the eagle and to the pigeon, holy messengers both. Sky Father has not forgotten me. He sends his winged children to comfort me. And I send skyward through the bars a winged prayer of thanks. No prison bars can stop a prayer. My hope is that you will receive these last two poems as my pastoral meditation, and that you will make them your meditation too. The Heart of the World by Leonard Peltier. This was written about 25 years ago. Here I am, locked in my own shadow for more than 20 years, and yet I have reached my hand through stone and steel and razor wire and touched the heart of the world. Mitakuye Oyasin, my Lakota brethren say, we are all related. We are one. In the Shadowed Night by Leonard Peltier. Sometimes in the shadowed night, I become spirit. The walls, the bars, the gratings dissolve into light, and I unloose my soul and fly through the inner darkness of my being. I become transparent, a bright shadow, a bird of dreams singing from the tree of life.
Sego, Skonago. I am Luang Papaklewish, in English, WinterFlower, Ramapo Lenape, Chief of the Northeastern Native American Association. I'm often asked how I was named WinterFlower. The chief inspired by the knowledge of my birth. I was premature, 1 pound, born in November. He said he envisioned a flower budding from the cold winter's earth, rare and unique. Thus, the name WinterFlower. Reverend Olson asked if I would share my reflections on being Native American Indigenous, what this day might mean to the Native American people. Many thoughts came to mind. But then Reverend Olson said, you only have 7 to 10 minutes. Okay, then 2 words came to mind: resilience and invisibility. Indigenous Peoples Day means something different to each Native American. I do not like sharing the day with Christopher Columbus. We all know the history of Christopher Columbus, how he discovered us. We were nothing more than savages. We had no intelligence. Heathens, needed to be Christianized, assimilated, or better yet, eradicated. However, I have learned that Native American Indigenous Peoples Day can be a day of reflection, a reflection of our own history, to draw attention to issues such as climate control, land rights, reclaiming our power, visibility. Indigenous Peoples Day can be used as a day of developing understanding, looking into diversity and resilience of the Indigenous people. I have grown to realize Indigenous Day can hopefully change awareness, mindsets, one day, 1 year at a time, bringing visibility and education about Native American and Indigenous people. As I reflect upon my own life as a Native American Indigenous person, I remember the questions, I remember the comments, the looks, the ridicule, but I also remember my heritage. I come from generations of warriors, male, female, two-spirited, all strong, all resistance, all resilient. Now back to those 2 words, resilience and invisibility. Reverend Olson read My Life, My Sundance by Leonard Piertier. Leonard Piertier is one of my definitions of resilience. Here is a man that suffered years of cruelty in jail and injustice for a crime he did not commit. While others in jail have been pardoned year after year after year, felons walk free and are allowed to sit in a chair of power. Leonard Piertier will never see the light of day, yet he fights every day. Through his illness, through the injustice, through the cruelty, he is resilient. Invisibility. In 2016, a study showed that 78% of Americans say they know little to nothing about Native Americans. A significant of Americans went on to say that Native American people didn't exist. And if we did exist, we must be a dwindling population. Invisibility impacts Native people, community, and tribal nations. Invisibility and racism fuels discrimination against Native Americans and Indigenous people. Slowly, we are becoming visible. Native American indigenous people are doing great things, wonderful and meaningful work. A name that comes to mind, Chief Wilma Mankiller Cherokee. Our society has Native American astronauts, ballet dancers, race car drivers, and so many more. We have the first Native American Interior Secretary under President Biden's administration, Deb Haaland. Slowly, we are being portrayed in the media as true actors with intelligence, not a cutout caricature. Two shows come to mind, Dark Winds and Yellowstone. Check them out. This is a beginning, but not enough. I hope that we will use Indigenous Peoples Day to reflect on all Native American indigenous people. All that Native American indigenous people have been thrusted upon as people. Reflect and think about how we Native American indigenous people contributed to society and a culture not our own. How we continue to contribute. Remember how we persevered, endured, how we continue to fight and survive. Let us reflect on how to erase the curtain of invisibility, not only for ourselves, but for our seventh generation. I stand before you, Luan Papugluish WinterFlower, Chief of Nina, reflecting back to all of my teachings, my struggles, my invisibility. Invisibility bestowed upon me by a society of non-Native people, living in fear of what they do not understand or for a quest for power. I say to you, Native Americans and indigenous people are strong people, resilient people. We have a voice. We are not invisible. We are warriors. We stand tall. We remember. We will be remembered. I am proud to be WinterFlower, Luang Papaklush, Ramapo, Lenape. Aho.
I'm going to ask us to just take a minute of breathing and reflecting on what we've heard and what we've felt in these past few minutes. And I will ask us then to, I shouldn't tell you what we're going to do. I want you to be in the present. So be in the present. For just 1 minute. May I ask us to turn in our hymnals to number 123, Spirit of Life. Maybe could we ask Nathaniel to play it through once, and we'll just kind of absorb it, and then we'll sing together. Thank you. At this time, I was going to invite you outside for a ceremony. I am not leading a Native American ceremony, so we're going to just have a ceremony in our hearts. But as we prepare our hearts, as we have been throughout the service of worship, I ask you once again to attend these words of Leonard Peltier. A prayer. Grandfather, mysterious one, we search for you along this great red road you have set us on. Sky Father, Tunkashila, we thank you for this world. We thank you for our own existence. We ask only for your blessing and for your instruction. Grandfather, Sacred One, put our feet on the holy path that leads to you, and give us strength and the will to lead ourselves and our children past the darkness we have entered. Teach us to heal ourselves, to heal each other, to heal the world. Let us begin this very day, this very hour, the great healing to come. Ho.
smudging ceremony, and the person who was supposed to do that apparently didn't come. So I suggest you go outside and enjoy this beautiful day.